Welcome everybody. And I know this is the last session for the day before the party starts. So we'll try to wrap it up as soon as we can. But while we are here, we just want to make sure it's worth your time here. So small introduction. My name is Sanjeev. I'm head of insurance for Sama. And today what we'll be talking about is how, since morning we have been hearing all the big data stuff and heavy algorithms and other stuff and all that. So we'll make this session a little bit light. We just want to make sure at the end of the day, you see one good application or one good warehouse application, which has gone in production, but like other companies are using it. So, so we have the fortune to have Alan, who's with us. He's one of our customers. The company name is Motorist. Alan has been in the data management and in the analytics space for around 2 decades. Okay, has been pretty extensive experience working, has seen various kind of technologies, like starting from Unix to mainframes to the real world now. But one fundamental things that they talk about, like the people who are visionaries, like those people who adopt the technology much sooner because they can see something is coming. That's what we're going to see it, how working with Sama, Motorist has evolved a warehouse totally working on Hadoop, and what are the things they are able to achieve it, which conventional warehouse will not be able to do it. So just to make it simple here, what we will do here is we will show the journey which Motorist went through, okay, and then finally how they are able to utilize the maximum power of the Hadoop there. For those people, just by a show of hand, just want to see how many people are from the financial industry here. It's quite a bit. Oh my God, I didn't expect that much. Okay, good. Okay, that's good. Okay, so I will let Alan describe what the Motorist is and the journey with that one. So what the objective here is, we will show the starting, like how we got engaged there, and then at the end we will go a little bit more deep in terms of the technical architecture. And finally, I'll give a small demo just to show the power of Hadoop, that we were not able to do it with our conventional relation database that we have been using it for years together. So with this one, Alan.
All right. Yeah. Thank you, Sanjeev. So I'm going to sneak over here so I can cheat off the monitor here. So we'll start off with this quote. Really like this, just kind of telling the story of your data is not really the key, right? The key is understanding the data and having really good information and context around your data. And that's what at Motorist we found is as we started this journey, we realized that one of our biggest deficiencies is understanding the information that's available to us today. So get into more of that here in just a minute. So this is an adoption curve around emerging technologies. It shows you a lot of technologies that have kind of shown up on the scene over the last few years, and how there's kind of an excitement and a peak of expectation. And then people kind of realize, oh my gosh, this isn't as great as I thought it was, or takes a little bit more to implement than I thought, and you kind of have a little bit of a sink in adoption, and then slowly you build back up. If you notice, the ones highlighted in yellow there are things that really have specifically hit the insurance industry recently, from connected home, smart advisors, wearables, Internet of Things. Lots of things really changing the insurance industry today from what it's been very slow-paced and traditional in the past. So these are some of the new sources of information that affect the insurance industry. I'm sure this is nothing new to anybody here in the room. But it's an exciting time to be, in the analytics world and in insurance, because we have so many new tools and new looking tools available to us from the analytics space to help drive our businesses. So just to kind of speak to some of the disruptions, the channels, you've got your Ubers and your Airbnbs, and you've got peer-to-peer insurance going on. You've got the change of how people interact with their insurance companies and how we live our lives. Pretty much this thing, I don't know if anybody would disagree, but this thing pretty much rules our world right now, right? We plan our entire life around our cell phone. In fact, I was just outside plugging mine in a few minutes ago to make sure it didn't die so I can call Uber later. So the other thing is how people interact with their insurance carriers, the change in the way they want the information now. They want to interact in a real-time way with their carriers. And then lastly is what's available to us now with the big data technologies and how we can process data differently, and it enables more robust technology solutions like straight-through processing and much better predictive and prescriptive analytics. All right, so this slide just kind of hits on a couple things about what are the opportunities and how do we use the information that's available in the space today. I won't speak a lot to that. You can read it, but again, it's an exciting time. So really to kind of kick off our story, I've been with Motorist now for just a little over a year. I started with Motorist May of last year and was really excited because we're really acting as an 85-year-old startup company right now. Lots of new things going on, lots of reinvention going on. When I got here, these were the issues that we were facing, and I think that for most insurance carriers in the audience, you can probably relate to at least one or two of these things. Anything from inconsistent reporting and KPIs, many disparate legacy, really old data systems. We even had things still running off of tape, which I don't even know how that works. That's before me. But a lot of really compelling reasons to do something new and modern and innovative. So part of what we did as an organization to kind of tackle some of these and other business cases is to embark on a transformation program. And so the first step of that was replacing our commercial operational systems for policy admin, claims, and billing all at the same time, with the target date of next year, that going live all at the same time. So as we started down that road from the data management and analytics perspective, we had some choices to make. So we could stick with kind of tried and true traditional solutions, or we could go a more innovative route in our data management capabilities. We could go with traditional EDW or something like the fluid analytics solution using Hadoop. We could wait for the new operational system to go live, or we could do parallel data warehouse and analytics development so that our new analytics solutions go live the same day that the new operational systems. Or we could wait and just let it play out a little bit and then develop our new solutions. So obviously, I wouldn't be here if we hadn't chosen the innovation side of this for sure. So when I got to Motorist last year, it was an interesting situation because, so as I mentioned, we took the road toward the analytics, the innovation side. A decision had been made for the new core systems that a traditional data warehouse built on SQL Server would be put in place as kind of the safety net strategy for a data warehouse. I got there, and so my challenge was to take that decision point and build out a data ecosystem that could survive over the next 10 to 20 years and be scalable and flexible. Looking at traditional data warehouses, they're great for some things. We know all those use cases, but not really great for, what we consider dark data, otherly structured data, doing rapid prototypes, quick analysis. They're somewhat inflexible. They don't deal with really high volumes of data, and they don't really deal with low latency data very well. So taking a step back, I said, well, we've already got a partnership with Sama and Hortonworks in place where we've been doing some proof of concept with Hadoop, and we've also got this dimensional data warehouse decision to be made. Let's really take those and let's marry them up into one hybrid solution that kind of is the best of both worlds. So this is our vision state, super oversimplified architecture. Makes it easy to talk to. So the idea is that we build a data lake to ingest data from all of our different operational systems, whether that's affiliate systems, legacy mainframe systems, the new Guidewire operational systems, et cetera, third-party data, clickstream data, et cetera. We then pass that through what we call our data refinery layer, which is where we take the data and we make it look the same. We kind of conform it across different affiliate companies and across domains, do some very simple transformation to it there, add a little bit of data governance to that, and then let it flow on into kind of our data science area or our analytics engine, which is also within the Hadoop ecosystem. As data gets used more frequently and the use cases for that data becomes a lot more apparent, then we take it and we add additional layer of governance and definition, much more metadata added to it, and we model it into a traditional data warehouse architecture. And so today, like I mentioned, that's SQL Server, and it's a very dimensional model. We're looking at lots of different options, including kind of an enhanced version of the IMAP model that we used from SAMA as kind of our proof of concept early in the process. So then on the right, you see all the different outputs that could come out of this data warehouse ecosystem, and sitting between those is what I call our abstraction layer. And so this is where we build REST APIs, we build data marts, we build the layer that really the end users, 90% of the people are going to interact with. You've got some people who kind of get access to data that's less refined, but ultimately for business use cases, we want very well-defined, very single source of the truth type data, and that abstraction layer is where we do that. If we build those REST APIs as the interface, then it doesn't matter what we do behind the scenes, right? So we can do crazy stuff with the data behind the scenes. Our users never know it. What they do know is that interface never changes and that they're getting the same well-defined data all the way through. Let me check my time here. All right, excellent. So in doing this, we kicked off some projects with SAMA and with Hortonworks support, definitely. So the first thing we did was really kind of take a step back and look at our use cases. We got together in a room, we talked through all of our known use cases for the platform. We designed what that new infrastructure on Hadoop was going to look like. We involved our enterprise architecture group, we involved our IT operations group, developers, SAMA consultants, folks from Hortonworks. We defined what we considered our best practices taxonomy to make it easy to classify and secure data. The next thing we did is we went ahead and started building out our personalized data warehouse. We started small. We started with one of our affiliate companies that I'm very familiar with, Consumers Insurance. We consumed all of their data into the data lake. We applied the SAMA IMAP model to that as the kind of the relational model for that, and then built some application layer on top of that, which Sanjeev will show you in the dashboards here shortly. So our next steps around that are to extend that model, make it where the IMAP model can consume personalized data from other affiliates and from Motorist corporate systems, and kind of make that data our personalized data warehouse in the future, with the idea that over time we blend that in with the commercial lines data warehouse that's being built for our new operational systems. Another thing we did was we built a claims dashboard for consumers as part of that kind of proof of concept phase. One thing that folks are really excited about that we just recently did is ingested claims notes from one of our core systems at Motorist, and laid Solar Enterprise Search on top of that, indexed it, made it where A person can search for a keyword or a phrase within claims notes, which to us in the past has been dark data, and made a really nice discovery platform that then the user, when records come back, they can click into it and see specific claim details. And there's a lot more we want to do with that in the future, but we just put that out there as a proof of concept to get our claims folks really excited about it, and they're pretty stoked really about it and pushing for more. So that was pretty awesome. And then lastly, taking agency feedback reports that are traditionally done in Word documents or sometimes written documents that are stored as PDFs, ingesting those into our Hadoop environment. Then some scripts were written to actually extract data out of those to provide automated reporting for agency feedback. So what kind of value did we get out of this? You know, the first most obvious kind of easy use case that everybody talks about at the conference is ETL offloading. So by changing our process to not be traditional SQL, SSIS, ETL processes and move to more of an ELT process and leveraging the parallel power of the Hadoop ecosystem, we immediately reduced load times by 30%, and that was just at the first swag. We anticipate over the next few months we can probably increase that number to a 70% improvement while still maintaining massive scalability at that level. Next, as I mentioned, the agency feedback reports, just a few hours of scripting there saved hundreds of man hours a quarter of our marketing people having to pour through documents and extract data out manually to aggregate for management reporting. New insights into claims, again, I mentioned that, and also making that claims data that was previously dark much more discoverable and usable. All right, so now I will hand it over to Sanjeev, who will kind of talk a little bit about the technology side of it and a demo.
Sure. Thanks, Alan. What we are going to show you here is not necessarily limited to insurance, but here we have just taken insurance as one example here. Okay, probably you can extend the same concept and same architecture for any industry that you are in, be it in pharma, be it in the financial banking industry. But the fact here is we just want to show how things are done a little bit differently, the way compared to what we have been doing it in our classic way. It's interesting enough, we had we were talking to another customer, and when we were in the sales process, okay, and then it's like the customer says, so where do you have star schema? Say, no, we don't use star schema anyway. He says, so whatever I learned in my college or school, it's all waste now. I say, you know what, welcome to the technology world. You know, things have to evolve, things have to move, and this is how you will adopt it here. And almost like 3.5 years back or so, when I just want to give you, for those people who have not interacted with insurance, as you say, insurance is by nature it's a risk averse. They're the last one to adopt any technology change. They will live with Informatica version 2.0 and give, I can see some smiles here. So they'll give $100,000 more to Informatica to maintain version 2.0, where the whole world is going on Informatica 11 or whatever the version is, right? But that's the reality here. And the joke is, in Star Wars we say we are moving at a warp speed, and in insurance industry we say we are moving at insurance speed. So you can probably get the meaning of it. So I think that's where we saw when we ventured into the insurance space here. But one thing, as Alan mentioned, a significant change is happening in the insurance industry. I don't think, probably it's happening in a lot of other industry because of all this, the syndicated data and like all the social media. Like, I don't know, somebody was saying I'm not European anymore in the morning. We saw heard the keynote speech, and people are blaming social media for that. I don't know how far that's true, but the fact here is the world is changing, and somehow there is some kind of fear factor the insurance industry is getting for the first time. Somehow they are looking into how do I make sure with all the adoption happening, millennials coming, they have different kind of buying habits. They don't even want to talk to their parents, and do you think they will talk to the agent? You know, that's not going to happen. Whatever their smartphone can give it, they will like to exploit on that part of it. So a lot of insurance companies, just to take advantage of whatever is available, they are making a big change in the investment in the IT infrastructure. That's a big opportunity. That's the way I look at it. And surprisingly, you know, like not surprisingly, now it looks like trivial here. 3.5 years back, I was in one session with the chief risk officer of an insurance company, and I said, the way you have designed warehouse, you will not design the warehouse in future. She says, so whatever I have done, it's all waste. I said, no, we'll take care of that part of it. But the fact here is, the way all along we have done the warehouse design, things will change. Things are changing. And if I have to do it all over again, I will probably do it much different here. And that's what we were trying to give you, you know, one preview, how we have done it a little bit differently. And is that the final one? No. But I know it for sure, like probably the way all the evaluation is happening in the Hadoop environment with Hortonworks and all, okay, the things are going in the right direction. Now you are able to do 80% of the thing, or probably 85% of the things at 20% of the cost. Why not do that? If 15% is the gap that you have it, find a workaround, either do it a hybrid mechanism or whatever it is, right? Find a workaround to do it. So your cost of IT and cost of investment is much lower, not only from the support TCO perspective, but also from the development perspective. What we have seen is like customers who have adopted this technology or who adopted this framework, all their future development has been going on in this environment, and the development cycles are much shorter. Not to talk about the general thing that you see, which you couldn't use it, like, in the TDWI, everybody is familiar with TDWI, I hope that. They said 35% of the data resides in unstructured environment. That means so far the decision that we have been taking it, we never took care of those 35% of the data. So your modeling cannot be right. Your modeling cannot be perfect here, unless until you somehow find a way to ingest all data, that's whichever way you can do it. So with this one actually, so Usama came up with something, we call it as a fluid analytics, okay, there are different naming convention as things are going forward. We used to call it IMAP, like Insurance Model Analytics Platform, but we changed it to fluid analytics, okay, based on various verticals. For life science, for banking, we call it fluid analytics, for insurance, or fluid analytics for, whatever the vertical that we're using it for. And one of the things that we did was along with Hortonworks stack, we're using completely the Hortonworks stack at this point of time. That doesn't mean we can't be use other ones, but just wanted to say what is available right out of the box, okay. And for Tableau, we are using it for the visualization purpose. So we have our own visualization tool too, but again, the point which I wanted to prove here was, once the data comes into the place, right, you can use any mechanism to retrieve the data, whether it's a REST-based API or you have, like, you're using SAS to get the data. And those people who are coming strongly from the financial industry, and especially from the insurance side, there are actuaries and data, like the underwriters, who are hungry for data at any point of time. They want to get the finest grain of the data. People will go for aggregate data, but they are more hungry for the finest grain of the data, as if they don't even believe each other. Forget what they'll believe anybody else for the aggregate reports here. They want to do their own modeling, and that's one thing which we are able to solve this problem very extensively with this kind of architecture, this kind of a framework here. So now, I think if I have to take one slide, this is the slide generally I present, and just opening little bit of our engine here, okay, how we have put all the things together and, able to achieve what a standard warehouse we have been able to do it all along there. So if you see it here, right, we have lived with this environment for a long time, structured data. Now, all the unstructured data that you see it, now this could be all the social media data, which is as unstructured as it can get, or the data that you have it, in terms of notes, like especially in the insurance industry, you have claims notes or agents notes or whatever you have it, putting all the things together, okay. And the third thing is external data interface. These are the external, every industry has some sources of the data that is used, whether it's in pharma, it's IMS, or like if in insurance, you have LexisNexis or ISO, whatever you may have it. Those are the interface connection that we provide just out of the box here. So, and how many of us have seen, we still have the data residing in silos in our environment today? Can I just see a show of hand on this one? Okay. Well, let's be honest here. So I think this problem, this is an opportunity for us to solve this problem here. And interestingly, I was talking here, somebody here today, he says, yeah, we started using Hadoop, but we still have the data in silos. You know what, one day you have to fix that part of it. When you're making such a big change in the technology stack, this is the time you rather fix the silos problem too. I'm not saying by any means this is a small exercise. And I can tell you some of the things that, specifically I'm talking about the insurance industry here. As I said, they're doing a huge investment. Their transformation budgets are easily anywhere in range of 100 million to 500 million, depending on the size of the company. And this is on the lower side, I would say. But they are seeing this is an opportunity for them to survive, to take care of all the new technology enablement right now. So what we do here is like when the data comes in any of these formats here, we pull the data, whether it's, I'm very sure like, we go to a lot of insurance agents and all that, they're still using green screens, as if the world never changed for them, okay. But like there are other people, who are using the Windows stuff or whatever it is, right? Doesn't matter, right? We know the data ingestion can happen, whatever source you may have it. But the fundamental thing, the way we define this architecture, we call it as a 3-layered architecture there. The first one we define as a landing one. Just get the data as is. Doesn't matter. Just disconnect from your legacy sources or the sources that you have it. And the next thing that you do is the staging part of it. That's the place where all our schema helps to put the data together. And then somewhere in the middle, we do all the data quality and the data standardization part of it. And that's the place where I said you cannot short circuit the time. It will take its own time. Fixing the data is never easy there. But once you have fixed it, just you can imagine all the application that you can build on top of it will have a huge value. Now, the third layer that we define on top of it is the aggregate layer here. And for any industry, right, we have some of the out-of-the-box KPIs which is relevant to your industry. Like in the insurance industry, we use loss ratios, the claims ratio, whatever you have it, we put all those things together here. Now, all your dashboards report, there are power users, okay, who only care about the aggregate layer here. But there are some set of the people, they want to go to the bottom layer, they want to go to the raw layers too. And this is what I will show you in a demo in a little bit, where in the same screen itself, in the same environment, you are able to see the data at the topmost aggregate level, and you are able to go to the fine grain of the data. You are able to see the data from how you are doing at a country level and how you are doing at a state level. From there, you come to the zip code level, and from there, you come to the individual policy. And that way, you can find out like whether you are making losses or making profits there, or if there is any kind of an aberration here. These are some of the basic things which I am just telling you, which can be used right out of the box here. Now, if I have to just, I'll play out the screen. Okay. So, the fluid analytics for insurance, what we have it, the data model is extensible. And one of the things that we have done it is, again, you can use it for any industry here, but for insurance industry, we are using a CORD model. For life science, it could be, for healthcare, it's HL7. Whatever the industry standard that you have, you can adopt that part of it. And since this is schema on read, this gives you a lot of flexibility too. Lot of reporting, lot of information that you have not even thought of it when you were designing it, right? All the reports and other stuff. You can figure it out since you have all the access to the data to the final screen here. The life is much easier once you have this information. Literally, and I'm not sugarcoating here, and I'm not trying to, exaggerate here. But once we deployed this architecture, the customer has been deploying new application almost every 6 weeks. I think that's the power that you see it. You have to take that bullet once, but once you fix that part of it, there's a huge advantage that you have. Now, as you can see it, right, since we did for insurance here, so these are the things that, like whether it's all the mappings are defined from the aggregate layer to the finest grain there. Then as I said, you can even have the integration if you're using SAS and other stuff, you can come to the bottommost layer right away itself. So with this one, I just want to switch over to demo. Okay. How many are the Tableau fans are here? Okay. You know, actually I was kind of surprised the way Tableau make it on the entry. I thought the visualization space was kind of like, done, but the way Tableau make the entry, not that ClickTick and other tools are not good, but what I'm saying is that they were latecomer, but they definitely capture a lot of market here. And I'm not being paid by Tableau by any means and all that. So, as I was telling you, right, we are showing the data from the highest level. Okay, you can see the aggregate data for each state. Okay, whether you're making profit or losses and in those places. Other thing that you see, you are able to see it here, is now it's not easy to integrate the data. We all get it. Now, in this one, where we from the insurance perspective, these are all the data which is coming from the claims. This is the data which is coming from the policy. Now, in one screen itself, you're able to compare both the things together. If there's any pattern happening, like your policies are going up, but your loss is also going up, or there's the other way around, but you're able to put all the things together just because of this architecture here. Now, the last thing, second thing which I just want to do it, as I was telling you in the beginning, right? I'm not sure why it's not loading here, but the idea here was just to show the zip code level analysis there. If you can see that part of it, right, these are all the zip codes, and this is, as I said, this is straight away coming from the Tableau part of it, right. So, if you click on any of the zip code, actually if it is in red, like that means the loss ratio is higher there. That means you are making more losses than you're making money here. But again, that's access to the final screen of the data. Now, just in best interest of time, also want to mention one more thing. You can even go to the individual policy, that way you will figure it out whether this particular zip code was bad and that's why you made losses, or there was one policy that caused the aberration and that's the reason you made losses there. So, that kind of analysis you can do it because of this architecture here. Now, other thing which we all know, the power that Hadoop brings it is not only in terms of the ingestion of the data, but also the retrieval of the data or the processing of the data. For all the people who works with the data scientist, all they want is a good amount of data. Any of your modeling, those people have the statistical background, they probably understand your model is as good as your sample size. Now, with this kind of a thing, you pretty much have access to the complete data the organization can have it. Okay, we are not saying we are solving genomics problem here, because that's a big data of big data, that's a different thing altogether. But for most of our industry, we can even take the good amount of the sample here. So, in this slide, what we are trying to show here is the base, sorry. Yes, thank you. Based on the car life, like it's 1 year, if an accident happens, so most of the insurance companies make loss here. But as the blue line shows how many cars have been registered, like from 0 to 1 year, 2 year, this is the blue line which it shows it there. And looks like that's the reason this company is more profitable, because in between that you see they have good, like they are making good margins here, but and the number of registration is high too. I don't know what happens at the end of 23 years or so, like this looks like 7 year each in cars and all that, that suddenly it spiked out and all that, but this is all sample data, so don't take it seriously here. But point here was, now you have access to the complete amount of the data here, and you can do any of the modeling that you could not have done otherwise. Not only you are able to meet your customers' SLA, your in turn the data ingestion and other stuff, but also you can load any number of the data, any like the duration of the data. And another thing which we took it to next level here, even the same data that you can use it, you probably can get away all the legacy systems, you can shut down the legacy system much sooner and you can save a lot of money there. On an average, the thumb rule is any legacy system that you are maintaining, you are spending close to $2 million to maintain that part of it. Now, you can put all the data in Hadoop and you can have those kind of a screen interface, okay, just to take care of all your future compliance. A lot of industry have to store the data for compliance reason, whether it's a healthcare or it's a life science or whichever the industry that you are in. So, anyway, with this one, I just will switch back to the thank you. So, as Alan mentioned, the insurance industry is changing significantly. I think this is the time for most of the people to take advantage when they are doing the big, to take care of this new shift in the technology. And also, as I said, right, the model that we have it is for insurance, but we have it for other verticals too. We call it the Fluid Analytics. You can check it out on our website. I just don't want to be more sales guy here, but I just wanted to show these are the things are possible, okay, and these are the things like probably will help us to do a lot of things that we couldn't do it otherwise. So with this one, we can probably take questions. Okay. Sure. Yeah, thank you.
I have a question,
You have a mic here or something?
I can talk loud.
Okay.
So, I have a question, so you drill down from the aggregated data,
Mm-hmm.
the finance level of granularity, is it predefined or is it random?
See, it's interesting, right? And this really happened with when we were trying to do the proof of concept at Motorist, and Alan's boss, Bob Weiser, who is the chief analytics officer, we gave him we said this is what can be done. Absolutely there was some kind of a non-believer was there. Okay, as I said, they're more on the visionary side, and then he said, give me the access to the Tableau. I want to run this report myself. So I'm saying we don't have everything defined, but a lot of things you can do just out of the box there. Now, not necessarily, at aggregate you have to define it a little bit, but for you to come to the aggregate level is much easier because all the data is already residing. But you can go from the aggregate level to the final scale of the data without predefined part of it, if that was your question.
Yeah. And I'll add something to that as well. So the data behind that is structured in such a way that the drill anywhere capability would be there. We just didn't build it into this particular application because it was more of a pilot to kind of do a proof of concept to put in front of the business and say, this is the type of thing we can do. Play with this and tell us what you want to do from here. And that's the phase we're in now is kind of that second phase of, okay, this is great, now I want ... right? All the things that happen after people first see a new solution.
So the POC that you have done, right? So what is the size of the data that you need the POC?
So right now, not huge. Our biggest issue is not size of data or volume of data, it's the obscurity of the data that we work with and the fact that it comes from literally a dozen different operational systems that all have their own business rules. So our kind of secret sauce to all of this is getting all that data conformed into something that's meaningful across all of our different affiliates.
I can add to this one. I said, so at other place, right, this company was struggling to, they had the data in the relational environment for 5 years. When they started ingesting the data, they were almost able to process 20,000 records at most. Okay, their 9 months of data we processed in 1 hour. So that's the power that we talk here, right?
So processing of data is one thing, and making the data available to the business user from the aggregate level to the finance level granularity, that's a different aspect.
That's true. That's true. So that's where the Hadoop helps you on both part of it. So ingestion is one part of it. The retrieval also, based on the nodes you have it, you can have the performance, the gain there too. Thank you. You had the question. Sorry.
What's been the experience of putting data visualizations in front of the analyst versus them actually getting access to the raw rows and columns?
I would probably.
I can speak to that if you like on our particular use case. So in our use case, because our analytics division is very young, we actually have what we call decision consultants, who are the business analysts who work within the analytics division. They actually produce most of the Tableau dashboards. So we present things like this as kind of a proof of concept and kind of the thought leadership behind it, and to demonstrate the data that's available, then we give it to them and let them actually build the dashboard solutions. Ultimately, if it's something that kind of becomes sticky and valuable to the enterprise, they pass it back to my team. We kind of harden the process behind getting the data flowing through it and automated updates and publish it out to Tableau server for general consumption.
So you have a good governance process around that, because otherwise you get out of control, right?
Yeah, to say we have it would be a little bit of an overstatement. We're very far along developing it though. Yeah.
But that is one of the frequent question comes everywhere. Like, what is your data governance and data security and the data lineage? Like the 4 points we have in the data space itself. What is the story there? And what we have seen it is some places we are able to do it just because there is no other environment available. We're working with Hortonworks so that quite a few things that were not there 2 years back. So we are able to have those, like for the data lineage and other stuff, we are able to have those kind of things there. So definitely, I think the direction is right. Maybe, maybe next year maybe a little bit better, but definitely it's the right direction there. And one more thing which I just wanted to add on the fine grain of the data, especially I think actuaries and underwriters are different breed, okay, and they don't have much respect for data scientists. They said we have been doing this thing for years together. Don't let no data scientist tell me how to do my business. And the data scientist says you have been doing conventional way, so you don't know what you're missing. But these are the people who like to get the finest grain of the data. That is their bread and butter. That's what they thrive on. If you give the aggregate data, it doesn't go too far with them.
Yes, I think we're getting the hook.
Data science can draw a rosy picture very well.
Yeah.
The reality is in the data.
Data, right. Yeah.
So
So you had a question.
I think we're out of time.
Yeah,
We're over
okay.
time actually.
I think we had
but-
let's take one more question here or two more question here. Yeah, sorry.
So my question was, what kind of machine learning algorithms are you building with the data, and how are you using the unstructured data, because that's some powerful information that you're extracting.
Right. So I'll give a quick answer, and then we can talk more in detail. Once you have this data there, right? Like we have built a lot of application on top of it, which I didn't talk about. Okay, we built the fraud application part of it. We built like the customer 360 part of it. We built like the agent analytics, like a lot of analytics there, and that's the place the machine learning comes in. Okay.
Using unstructured data.
Of course, absolutely. So when all this data which is being resided in that architecture that I had shown you before, all the unstructured is already part of the ingested data anyway. And that's where the machine learning things come. And I can tell you, we have seen the remarkable results. Like in one of the recent project that we did, we could show their the fraud in 6 weeks, which they couldn't do it for 6 years, with all the machine learning part of it included there. One last question, if anybody has it. Yeah, sorry.
So up to this point, are you seeing any changes in the way decisions are getting made based on being able to shine a light on data that you couldn't see before?
I would say speed to decision is a big thing for us now. So it used to be that with the difficulty of getting data from these legacy systems would be months and months. So I call time to information. That metric was measured in months just a year ago. Now we're down to days and hours for those things. So the turnaround time on speed of decision making is definitely enormous right now. The effectiveness of the decision making is still too early to tell, to be honest with you.
And one last thing I will say, the whole warehouse we built for Motorist was less than a year, which is not very common in the insurance industry here. Just wanted to mention that. Okay, thank you. We'll be around in case anybody has a question.
Thank you all.